My name is Shakti Carola Neverin, so welcome to my weekly power astrological forecast. So my intention is to give you a good preparation for the coming week. So I have been an astrologer for 38 years now, and I know about the power and magic astrology can have. So yeah, thanks Anne for letting me know. I wouldn't have known if you wouldn't have told me. So the camera is working pretty well. The only thing is the text is very small, but we can live with that as long as you can hear me. Okay, so so I'm really passionate about astrology. I've been doing it 38 years, and I can see the impact it has had in my life and in my clients' life. So I really want to spread the word and teach the basic concepts about astrology to help to empower you for your life. So this is why I'm here. So well, before I go into the astrological thoughts and preparing you, I would like to take a moment for the victims of Orlando and their families, and just take a moment and close our eyes and send them our prayers and our love and our compassion. Thank you for sharing that. Well, I saw a real nice note this morning about that, and it's a quote from Martin Luther King Jr., and he said, "When evil men plot, good men must plan. When evil men burn and bomb, good men must build and bind. When evil men shout ugly words of hatred, good men must commit themselves to the glories of love. Where evil men would seek to perpetuate an unjust status quo, good men must seek to bring into being a real order of justice." So, from my perspective, through my astrological lenses and consciousness, my feeling is that we are looking at a stronger polarization than ever. So now it seems like they cannot see me. Hold on here for a moment. Well, on my website it's happening. Well, I hope everybody can get in here. You can see me just fine, and that's good. I mean, there might be individual problems with reception, but it seems like we have 4 viewers now, so let's keep going. Okay, I'm sorry about the interruptions here, but I'm looking into the world and what's happening, and what I'm seeing is there's a stronger polarizations than we ever had in history. So on one hand, there's Bernie, the spiritual light carrier, and on the other hand, somebody like Trump. So, and the events in Orlando, and terrorists, and all these things. I think the only thing we can do as an individual is to turn back inwards where we do have the power. And if you have been following me here for a while, I have always been talking about the power of our consciousness in the moment and the choices we make in our life, and how we contribute back into what we call the morphogenetic field, the overall consciousness. And this is really a PowerPoint we have, and I truly, truly believe that. So as sad as those outer events are, we cannot allow them to pull us down. We cannot allow the evil dark forces to win. But as we know, it doesn't work by pushing against the negative things we don't want in our life, because that way we're just strengthening them. So we always want to refocus onto where we want to go, what we want to see in our life. So we always want to refocus onto the positive. So keep that in mind with everything what's going out there in the political scene. Okay, I do believe astrology is a powerful journey for self-growth, to become more aware of who you are, to develop more love and compassion for others. So this is actually really a spiritual journey. So that is part of why I'm so passionate about astrology, and I really want to spread the word, and I want to teach you to learn about astrology. So what we want to look at today, we're going to look at each day and what to expect, and we're going to pay especially attention to the sun and moon position, because well, the sun is still in Gemini, and the moon will go every 2.5 days into a different sign. And wherever those outer planets are right now, that will play out somewhere in your chart. So if you know your chart, then you will be more aware of how those planets in your chart, which represent different inner aspects inside of yourself, how that will activate and influence how you perceive the world. And we do know that there is no objective perception of the truth of the world around us. There's only our individual kind of filter, emotional filter of consciousness. And astrology and these previews can actually really help you to be more aware of why you feel a certain way and how you filter a certain way. And I believe that's very powerful. So why we pay attention to the sun at all is because the sun is the king of our solar system. So the sun has the biggest gravity, it's the biggest body in our solar system. So all the other planets have to revolve around the sun. So then there's a moon reflecting the energy of the sun, the light, the consciousness. So the interesting thing is that from our perspective, from the Earth, sun and moon will look the same size. That's why we have solar eclipses. And I think it's a good symbol that the sun symbolizing our consciousness and the moon symbolizing our emotional filter, our belly, our feelings, our inner nature, that they both play an important role in who we are and how we show up. So so the sun representing that consciousness and what's activated for all of us right now is in Gemini. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. So we're having throughout the months this activation of mental acuity, of mental strengthening, of wanting to learn, being curious, being more in tune with others, with social interactions, with communications in general. So Gemini is really the storyteller, the communicator. So the sun in Gemini can help all of us to find a stronger voice, a better way to communicate. And of course, if you have any planets in Gemini yourself, that will be much stronger. High-end Gemini, yes, I have a Gemini rising actually. So yeah, multitasking is a good point here. So then the moon goes through the signs much faster. So the emotional overlay and what's activated in our chart is shifting and changing much faster, which makes it very interesting for us astrologers, because that means that the moon will activate our planets in our horoscope, in our birth chart, very frequently. So this is something we look at in electional astrology when we look at starting points for signing a contract, marrying somebody, these kind of poignant moments in time where we start into something new. And the chart we do for the moment is kind of that seeding moment. Like your birth chart is a seeding moment for who you were going to be in this lifetime, in your potentials. So the future is not set in stone. So I'm not a prediction kind of girl. I'm not a fortune teller, because the future is not set in stone. But there are potentials, there are creative underlying forces. We give those planetary names which are available to us. So knowing about those transits, those moments in time, and how that relates back to our chart can be really, really empowering. So if you want to leave me a comment and everybody tells me where their sun sign is, and actually if you even know your ascendant, then write down both. So if you don't know your chart, you can go to my website, mauiastrologyreading.com, and sign up for my newsletter, and then you get access to create your own birth chart. And you also get what I call the free love stone report, which is a stone you can use to balance your heart, because it's based on your Venus position. So far so good. I told you, Virginia, sun sign Scorpio, ascendant Leo. Good. Thanks. Okay, so for the contest, what I would like you to do is that you like the video under the video, that you like the page, that you leave me a comment, which most of you are already doing, and that you share it to your page. These are very simple rules, and everybody who does that will be part of the contest. And just after the video, the event, I will go with my pendulum and look for somebody who fulfills all the rules and see who comes up. So I will do that every week. I will give away a free 1 hour, what I call a highlight reading. So that's a good chance to get a little deeper into astrology and your own personal chart. So, okay, so today the moon will be moving into Libra tonight at 5:33 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if not mentioned otherwise, the timing I'm giving is usually Pacific Standard Time. So the moon moves over into Libra, and Libra is a sign ruled by Venus. Libra is the sign very relationship oriented. It's all about finding that balance between who I am and my own self-perception, learning how to express my own self with the other, and to go where the other is, and learning about compromise, and learning how to do relationship, learning how to do the dance. So of course Libra is ruled by Venus. Venus, the goddess, everybody knows Venus, the goddess of love, harmony, and beauty. So that makes for a beautiful evening with your family. So if you have a family, or you're living with friends, it's a good time to really spend time together, quality time together, because this is a time where our availability for a loving connection will be supported by that moon position. So Monday the 13th, we have a big event which will be going on for quite a longer time than just the moon. We have Neptune, the planet Neptune, the mystic, retrograding. So this is happening at 1:42 p.m. and that's a big deal, because we already have 3 other planets retrograding, and retrograding motions, planets who go retrograde into degrees of the sign the planet is in, it has been before, does two things. On one hand, it kind of slows you down in moving forward in that sign and discover new dimensions. But also because we revisiting degrees of the sign we have been in there before, it's a wonderful way to revisit, to kind of have a second chance. So for the Neptune is in Pisces, so it's a very spiritual empowerment and orientation. I mean, first of all, the Neptune in Pisces is in its own sign, so that's very, very powerful to begin with. Then, if you have any planets in the sign of Pisces, you are activated with the Neptune in that sign. Doesn't matter if it's on the planet or not. It kind of opens the gateway, opens your connection to the divine. And I always in my readings with people, I talk about that concept. Actually, Carl Jung, who also was an astrologer, has presented to us. So he talks about the wave in the ocean. So there's a wave and there's another wave, and he said that our consciousness is just connected with the top of the wave. So that's our sense of self, our identification point. And he talks about that is only 5 to 10% of our whole wave, of our whole consciousness. So that's not a lot, right? Then he talks about the belly of the wave as our unconsciousness or subconsciousness. And before Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung, there wasn't even a concept about unconsciousness. Of course, nowadays for us, that's part of how we think. But in those times, it was a new concept, and people were making fun of him. You're 90% unconscious, ha ha ha. So anyway, then there is the bottom of all the waves, and that is the ocean. And he called it the collective unconsciousness. I call it the morphogenetic field. I call it the expanded consciousness, the universal consciousness, the all is one perception where enlightenment happened. Enlightenment doesn't happen if we just identified with the top of our wave. Enlightenment happens when we are connecting to our true reality, and that is that the wave is part of the ocean. So all our pain and suffering basically happens when we are only identified with the 5 to 10% of our top of the wave. So waking up, becoming more self-conscious happens in that realization that we are, yes, we are an individual, we are the wave, and we are part of the ocean. And that is a very joyful realization. So Neptune opens us to the ocean, to the divine, to that more expanded perception and connection to all that is. So that's why Neptune in its own sign, collectively for us, does play a big role in hopefully that waking up and becoming more conscious overall. And I do believe that each one of us, we have to play a major role in that. So now Neptune retrograding, going over into degrees where it has been before, and depending how that happens in your chart, is kind of giving you another chance to really deepen in that place where that happens for you in your chart, and to really have those deep, beautiful, ecstatic experiences of your true being. So it doesn't get better than that. So that's the invitation of Neptune retrograde, and that is starting on Monday, and that is a big deal. So let me just give you the date, how long that's gonna be. So that is going on till November 18th. No, excuse me, that's last year. It doesn't show yet because it hasn't turned retrograde. Okay, I tell you next Sunday then. But we also have a few other retrograde planets. So we have Mars retrograde. So Mars, the warrior energy, the fierceness, our ability to take a stand, to say no, to defend ourselves, and also to be passionate. So also here we revisiting degrees in Scorpio. So that carries the intensity, and that carries on the low end side events like we have just seen in Orlando. So when we look into a chart, doesn't matter if it's a birth chart or a present chart, a forecast, there's always that whole range of possibility of low-end manifestation and high-end manifestation. So low-end Mars in Scorpio is violent, is abusive, is destructive, is aggression. High-end Mars is to find your passion, to take a stand, to be courageous, to learn about courage. So and then we all as individuals have to do our own journey from the lower end into the higher end. And that depends solely onto our state of consciousness, of course. And that's the reason why I so love astrology, because I haven't seen any other system which gives you that moment in time, that overview, that awareness of what the range of possibilities is there you have available. Okay, so Mars retrograde is happening for quite a while. Let me see if I can get that date for you. So it started going retrograde April 17th, and it goes direct in 17 days, June 29th. So that's going to be over then. Then we have Saturn. Saturn went retrograde 79 days ago, March 25th, and it's going to turn direct August 12th. So Saturn and Sagittarius. So Sagittarius, a sign of expansion and finding higher and deeper meaning in life. So Saturn is kind of grounding us in that, wanting us to get clear which mountain is actually worth to climb and put the effort in. So that's, I believe, a pretty good combination. And then there is Pluto retrograde. So let me see here. Pluto went retrograde 55 days ago, April 17th. It's happening in Capricorn, of course, and it will go direct in 105 days, September 26th. So that's a pretty long ongoing transit here. So Pluto in Capricorn, Capricorn is a sign of government, of rigid structures. Pluto, the god of the underworld, of destruction, of the hell realm, of death and rebirth. So that's part of what we're looking at right now, all those violent forces out there. So as I said before, the most important and helpful thing we can do as an individual is really find our own power point, really connect with the light and the highest frequency we are able to contribute. And this is important to focus on, because otherwise we get lost in that helplessness and sadness and pain. So help to focus on the light and the love, and let us hold that in our focus. Okay, so that was tomorrow. So that's a big deal. Neptune retrograde. Moon will be still in Libra, so both Moon and Libra energy connect very well with Neptune. So there will be an opening to that dimension of the ocean, to a bigger reality than just our tiny little ego identity. And there will be a willingness to experience that love and connection and that heartful beingness in the world. So Tuesday, the 14th, we still have the moon in Libra. We have the sun in Gemini sextiling Uranus. So Uranus is the revolutionary, the rebel. So the sun in a so-called harmonious, soft aspect connection with Uranus brings in the potential for change. If it would be a harder aspect, it would be possible that there's more kind of destructive stuff happening. But with the sextile, I'm really holding out the hope that it will create changes in all of us, but changes for the better, that we all feel empowered by what's going on and stepping into our own personal power and being the love and the light in the world, because that's something we can do. Wednesday 15th, moon moves over into Scorpio at 6:18 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that's a big one. Moon in Scorpio. Moon is our emotional filter to the world. Moon in the chart is what we need in order to feel safe, what we need to do in order to be happy and joyous. So when the extra input through the moon up there for all of us moves into Scorpio, there will be an overall intensifying of emotions. So of course, if you have any planets or signs in Scorpio, the moon will move over those planets very fast, but just because the moon is fast, it doesn't mean it's not intense. I mean, we talk about Pluto transits being so intense, not only because of the personality of the god Pluto, god of destruction and death and rebirth, but also because it's the slowest planet, the slowest transit we can have. So it kind of pushes, when it pushes as a transit into our chart, that's going on for a long time. So with the moon, it is quite intense emotionally, but because the moon is so fast, it kind of blows over pretty fast. So with you kind of getting a sense what to expect with the moon stepping through the different signs throughout the week, it can help you not to take those momentary intensifying moments so personal. So with the moon in Scorpio, there will be an intensification of emotions, of drama, of feeling more deeply what's happening for you in your life. And of course, depending on what planets you have in Scorpio, that will become intensified, but intensified emotionally. And by the definition, our emotions are part of our unconsciousness. So it takes a while for us to really figure out what's going on and to really connect. And then if we are aware of what's going on inside of us, then we have the choice to reorient into the higher frequency of what's available to us. So the higher frequency of moon in Scorpio is to be honest, to be real, to come from that place and connect with others, which is a beautiful quality. So then we also have on Wednesday moon trine Neptune. So moon, our emotional set point, Neptune, the mystic. So that's a good time to really be more oriented and connected to the whole of the wave, the connection to your own unconsciousness, but even more to all that is. So you can celebrate that with a meditation to really consciously reach into the ocean and experience that place of oneness with others, which is always a very nurturing experience. Okay, Thursday 16th, moon is sextiling Jupiter and Pluto. So Jupiter, the king of the Roman gods, always asks us the question, How have you underestimated yourself? In the more mainstream astrology, Jupiter is looked at the good fortune planet, the one who brings the abundance, the money, the lucky circumstances, and that is a true aspect, but there's so much more to Jupiter. For example, when I do forecast readings with my clients, I always spend some time of the Jupiter transits to their planets in their birth chart, because Jupiter is that kind of fickle god who, if you don't open the door, if you don't ask him in and receive what he has to offer, Jupiter just turns around and goes to your neighbor. So Jupiter is that invitation to expansion. Jupiter is that invitation to look at yourself from a more adventurous, advanced, higher, meaningful perspective. And if we are kind of satisfied with just being in our own little comfort zone, and we don't even want to push out and grow and ask those questions how we can grow and become a better self, then not much luck or good fortune is going to happen. So the moon sextiling with Jupiter opens you emotionally to ask that question, opens you emotionally for a more optimistic perspective onto yourself and onto your life. And Jupiter also has to do with our dreams. So our dreams and intentions and goals we're having. So Thursday is a good day to set those intentions in a very clear way. And Anne, if you have a birthday on Thursday, that's a wonderful day to have a birthday. And I would really carve out some time where you sit down and do a little intention setting, in your case, for the year, because your year is starting under the moon sextile Jupiter. Okay, and the moon is sextiling Pluto. So the Lord Pluto always wants us to transform, always wants us to confront deep inner fears and wounds, and because it's a sextile, so easy flowing connection there, it helps to step into this transformational flow. So Pluto asks that very real question: how have you been holding back on yourself? How have you been your worst enemy? So that's kind of the energy flow of Thursday. Still with the moon in Scorpio, so there is a willingness to look deep, to find the darkness, the underlying thrust of what makes us tick. So it can be very wonderful day for that. Friday, 17th, moon in Scorpio conjuncts Mars. So that's an intense one. It's another possibility for low-end violence and dark events to happen. But as we talked about it before, we want to focus on the high-end possibilities. So the high-end possibility of moon in Scorpio conjunct Mars is to really step into your passion, to really connect emotionally with what you are passionate about in your life. And that should and can pull you forward into the decisions you make, into creating projects, things you want to help moving in your life. So also on Friday, Venus enters Cancer. So Venus, the goddess of love, enters the sign of family, ruled by moon, so they go very well together. So Venus in Cancer is very family oriented, therefore, is also very emotional. So we want to have our loved ones close. We want to take care for others. We need to focus while Venus is going through Cancer on what truly nourishes our own self, and what we can do in order to nurture others, to be there, to contribute, to be a loving presence in this world. And then, helpful for that will be the moon entering Sagittarius on Friday at 6:34 p.m. Pacific Standard Time again. So after this going deep and that intensity, then the moon enters the sign, the fiery sign of Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, where it's all about that expression into the world. It's all about showing up at the right place, at the right time, and having the faith that life is good. There is a place for you out there. There are good things which can happen to you. So Moon and Sagittarius is usually a time when we feel very optimistic, connected, where we're willing to be a little more out of the box than usually. And especially if you have planets in Sagittarius, they get a little extra boost there. Okay, Saturday the 18th, we have a moon opposition to Mercury and Gemini. So moon in Sagittarius always wants to expand, wants to connect with the bigger picture. Mercury in Gemini is more interested in finding all these different informations. So I always say Gemini is the news reporter and being in the field, collecting all the information, and Sagittarius is the one who writes the editorial, the one who puts everything together into the bigger picture. So with Mercury in Gemini opposed by Moon, we will have emotional connection to those bits and pieces, and we have more understanding. We have a chance to have an emotional overview over what is truly important for our own self and our own life, and who we are in the world, and how we show up at our workplace and with friends and family and so on. Then also on Saturday, Moon conjuncts Saturn. So that's kind of a damper. Saturn, low-end Saturn is fears, obstacles, blockages, but the upside, high-end Saturn, is that we get really clear about something. So if we put in enough intentions and work and self-discipline, then at the end of the journey, there is always a result. There is always a harvest of some kind. So here, Saturn-Moon connection is, if you have fears coming up or obstacles happening, something doesn't move as well as you would want it to, then give yourself a moment and really check in with yourself and think about what's going on, and then take action steps, apply yourself. So Saturn high end is always doing the work. And then on Saturday also we have Moon square Neptune, and in the evening. So that again is a very intuitive connection to the bottom of your wave, the ocean, the bigger reality, the higher consciousness is available to you. So one way to tap consciously into that is to give yourself a moment and contemplate, sit with a cup of tea or meditate. Take a walk with your dog, be in nature. So it will be happening 6:14 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So for most that is evening, so that is a time when you can take that moment for yourself. That emotional attunement to the bigger dimension of reality. And then Sunday the 19th, the moon is still in Sagittarius. There will be a square to Chiron, and Chiron is a wounded healer. So that could mean, because it's square, so there might be something happening in your field of consciousness, in your experience, where you feel hurt, where you feel an old wound surfacing because somebody said something or did something. So remember that moment in time, that awareness, that hurt you might feel in the moment is actually the doorway to really deal with it, to really heal it. And Chiron is the archetype of the wounded healer. Chiron is the one who got wounded and healed himself, and he had to do that because he was immortal, so he couldn't die. So here he was in a lot of pain, and he couldn't die. So he had to deal with the wound, and he did, so he healed himself. And as a result, he became a better healer for others. So that potential is available there on Sunday for all of us. So yeah, just be attuned of what's happening in your field there, and take that chance. Okay, so for all of you who want to participate in the contest, as I said in the beginning, but not everybody was there in the beginning, you need to like the video, you need to leave me a comment, you need to like the page, and you need to share. You need to share on your own Facebook, because this will be available for replays for the whole week. And last week, a lot of people got into it later on throughout the week. So this is a very helpful thing to do. So if you do that today, I'm gonna pick one of you with my pendulum. So I leave out my conscious mind here. And if you want to be kept in the loop with any kind of videos or this live event, you want to go to my website and sign up for my newsletter, because I'm sending it out to remind you when this is happening. So now is the time for you to ask questions or share your thoughts with me. Let me know how you liked today. And we have another 5 minutes or so, and I can discuss what you really want to discuss. Yes, Virginia, I hear you. Well, I just want to make it kind of fair. So, because some of you I know and others I don't, so I just want to leave my mind out there. And there are not so many people live on here, 9 people, so I think you have a pretty good chance here to do that. So I might actually I think I will leave the contest open for people who watch the replay too, and give away another reading. So that just makes sense. So Virginia asks, how do you consciously choose to dip into the ocean of subconscious? Okay, so that is a good question. So I think intuitively we all know how to do that. So it's scientifically proven that if we go for a walk, our left brain is calming down and we get more into a balanced state. And so that's why I said, as an example, walking your dog, getting out in nature, it just takes us out of that monkey mind, that constantly going from the left brain perspective into the world. So another good way I have found is to do morning pages, because we're still very connected with that inner ocean, that inner world. So if we do longhand writing, even if it's only for 5 or 10 minutes in the morning, you will be amazed what you can tap into your own unconsciousness. You will remember your dreams better. And I know there are people who have written whole books from connecting to their own inner unconsciousness. But ultimately, all creativity and inspiration comes from even deeper, comes from connecting with the ocean, comes from connecting with that universal field. We are all part of that field of consciousness. And so to connect with that, the walk, the longhand writing might be a beginning, but the best way I know is to really meditate, to really find some kind of a practice which works for you. Because we Westerners are so busy-minded, what often works for a lot of my clients is to use trance inductions. That helps to calm down with music. What also helps is to do some kind of dancing for 10 minutes. Just shake the energies out of your body, jump up and down, and then sit down in silence and just watch your breath coming and going. So that's a wonderful way to open to the divine. And of course, if you have found a spiritual tradition you feel drawn to, then there are a lot of more instructions out there how to do a certain meditation practice. Okay, so let me see. Anne was born in the 12th house with Gemini, Venus, and Mercury. Okay, so Anne, Gemini, Venus in the 12th house. The 12th house is the house where we are more connected with the bigger picture. So you are a lover of humankind, somebody who really needs to express that connection, somebody who is very compassionate, very, very loving. So Mercury is in the 12th house. My Mercury is in the 12th house. And because I'm Gemini rising, it's a ruler of my chart. So when Mercury is in the 12th house, Mercury, our filter, our intellectual filter to the world, here it's a filter and the opening to the more psychic, non-physical dimensions of life. So that means ultimately that there is a psychic, intuitive potential there. I don't know if you've already tapped into that, but it probably would be quite easy for you to do. So you can learn to connect with that through starting a dream journal. So, okay, let's see what else questions we have. Okay, timing here in New Zealand. Well, you have to calibrate that back. So if I give you the Pacific Standard Time, Sharon, the best is you go to a converter online and put in the time and see where it is for you. So you are ahead, so you just have to add those hours. It's just in the beginning, but then you wrap your mind around it and you get a sense of how many hours that are. Okay, Sharon. Sharon, Gemini with Scorpio rising. So we do have the Gemini here, the Geminis. Okay, I want to sleep a lot lately. It does not feel like escaping. There are a lot energy downloading lately. Yeah, I would think so. I mean, with 4 retrograde planets starting tomorrow, there's a lot of inner energy, a lot of conscious and unconscious alchemical processes happening inside of us. So that could be the reason for being more tired. But of course, there can be many, many, many other reasons. So I just want to point out that whenever we suppress a lot of emotions, like that's what's happening in trauma, it's too hard to feel, we wouldn't survive, so we suppress that energy, and it takes us a lot of energy to keep that material suppressed. So when it's ready to be healed and looked at and integrated, there's usually a rise in life force energy available for people, because suddenly it doesn't take us so much energy to keep material down and out of sight of our consciousness. So therefore, so more self-conscious we are, and so more we're able to deal with those inner dimensions, so more life force and joy and happiness, I do believe we will feel. Okay, Virginia asks a question here. Tuesday 14th, there is a contemplative science event happening. 14th, what did we have on the 14th? Sun sextile Uranus, still Moon still in Libra. I think that's a wonderful background for that event to happen. Let me look at the chart. So one of the techniques to look into the upcoming week is to make an event chart for tonight, June 13th at 0 a.m. at midnight. So then we have a real chart for the beginning of the week. So so here the week starts with Pisces rising and Neptune on the ascendant. So that would hold true for the whole week. That's kind of the underlying current. Then we have still a wide conjunction between Sun and Venus in Gemini in the 4th house. So there's all this loving energy and attunement to our emotions, to people we love. So these are all really wonderful underlying forces happening in the coming week. Okay, my dears, more questions? We're already almost going for an hour here. So has everybody left me their sun sign? Okay. All right. Okay, my dears, I don't see any more questions. Then I will close it down for today. Thank you so much for joining and supporting me in this lively, exciting event. So I'm still getting used to it and doing this live. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I hope I will see you next week and have a wonderful, wonderful week. Bye.